Hey everyone! Welcome to my channel Manhwa Mantra. I noticed that a lot of you watch my videos but haven't subscribed yet. If you enjoy the content, please hit that subscribe button. It really motivates me to keep creating more amazing videos for you all. In the previous chapter, we saw that the demon scheming sect made a shocking entrance, revealing their team's incredible power. With 6 ethereal stage experts, 3 radiant stage elites, and Zhuo Fan leading them as a mysterious powerhouse. The crowd was left stunned. Even the mighty Han brothers and Yanmo felt the weight of this transformation. The stage was set for an intense battle as the judge called for the demon, scheming sect and beast taming sect to present their disciples. Hui Xiong, trembling in fear, already knew his sect was no match for the overwhelming might of their opponents. Let's begin the story. Against 6 mighty figures in the ethereal stage, their overwhelming auras slammed into Hui Xiong one after the other. All he could do was shake like a leaf, his face pale and whiny. Turning to his master, he squeaked, "Master, they're faking. Just 3 days ago they were cripples and now they're monsters? They must have pulled something." Elder Lu, equally stunned, muttered, "But what could they have done?" A trace of remorse crossed his face as he considered their imminent fate. What did they eat to grow so strong? How the hell can someone change this much in just 3 days? And so many of them too? Hai Xiong hesitated, his eyes darting nervously. "Master, the first round is lost. Should we just forfeit? Focus on mystical heaven sect instead? There's no way we can beat these freaks." "Bullshit!" Elder Lu snapped. "Do you have any idea why the Double Dragon Gathering uses evaluation to judge ranks? For situations exactly like this, when someone uses dirty tricks. The results of every round's evaluation are added together to determine our final standing. If we forfeit a round, we get nothing." Hai Xiong grimaced, his voice pained. "But Master, fighting them is the same as getting nothing. Just look at them!" "I'm starting to think Zi Wuyui played us. He gave us his weakest disciples to fight while these are his true elites." Elder Lu's face twitched with anger. Could it be true? Could Zi Wuyu, the sect ruler himself, stoop to such petty tricks? The thought felt absurd. After all, using weaklings would only make him look foolish among the other sects. But now there wasn't time for such concerns. Gritting his teeth, he turned to Hui Xiong. "Don't overthink it. The matchups are determined by drawing lots. They may have 6 ethereal stage experts, but there are still 4 weaker ones. All we can do is pray for luck." "Master, that makes a lot of sense," Hui Xiong said with a nod. His gaze landed on Zhuo Fan. "Master, that kid is only in the 3rd layer. If I draw him, we're golden." Elder Lu sneered at Zhuo Fan, then swatted Hui Xiong's head. "Idiot! You're at the peak of the radiant stage and you're eyeing the weakest opponent? Where's your dignity? Can't you go for those in the 6th layer and leave the weakling to your juniors? You need to think beyond yourself." Hai Xiong rubbed his head sheepishly. "Master, it's all up to luck. I'll fight whoever my opponent is. Not everything goes as planned." Elder Lu sighed but relented. "Fine, but know this. I'm angry at your cowardice, not your reasoning. A true warrior challenges the strong with a brave heart. Picking on the weak is meaningless." Hai Xiong nodded quietly, scratching his head. The judge's voice broke the moment. "May the team step forth to draw your lots. There are 2 boxes with 10 numbers. Matching numbers will determine opponents, and fights will occur in numerical order." Zhuo Fan stepped forward first, reaching into the box as casually as if he were picking apples at a market. He handed the slip to the judge, who announced, "Demon Scheming Sect's leader, Zhuo Fan, has drawn number 10. Ha ha ha! Number 10! Wonder who's unlucky enough to face that freak." Yanmo's laughter rang out from the stands. His amusement didn't go unnoticed. A curvy, enticing woman appeared beside him with a teasing smile. "Senior brother Yanmo? How come you've never cared to watch fights back at the sect, but are suddenly so interested in the lower 3 sects matches?" Yanmo glanced at her and sighed. "The lower 3 sects are bottom tier. I'm not here for them." His eyes flashed like a predator's as they locked onto someone specific. "There's one person worth my attention." Startled, the woman Yu Mei shuddered. She had always known Yanmo to be a carefree player. The only thing he ever took seriously was his rivalry with Wu Qingqiu. Yet the intensity in his gaze now was something else entirely. Who could make senior brother so serious? Her gaze followed his and landed on a bored-looking Zhuo Fan. 3rd layer radiant stage? Yes, 3rd layer radiant stage. Yanmo gnashed his teeth. But that liar is anything but what his cultivation shows. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Last time he almost... Yanmo trailed off, realizing Yume was still there. Last time? She pressed, her curiosity piqued. Nothing. It doesn't concern you, Yanmo snapped, flushing with embarrassment. Admitting a third-layer radiant stage nearly defeated him? Impossible. His reputation couldn't take the hit. Yume's smile turned sly. Her gaze lingered on Zhuo Fan with growing interest. Who is this boy to provoke such anger in senior brother? Meanwhile, Hui Xiong drew his lot. Number 10! He shouted gleefully. His smug grin was directed straight at Zhuo Fan. The crowd's disdainful stares burned into Elder Lu, whose face turned crimson. How did I end up with such a shameless disciple? As Hui Xiong celebrated his supposed luck, Zhuo Fan barely reacted. In his mind, one word echoed, dumbass. From the stands, third young Master Han sighed. Stupidity really is terminal. What's there to laugh about? Facing someone like him is suicide. His companion chuckled. Still, it's a chance to see what that monster can do. Back on the demon scheming sect's side, Fiend Yang beamed with pride. Brothers and sisters, I'm thrilled to see your courage and energy. With you here, challenging the middle three sects is... Skip it! Zhuo Fan cut in, his voice flat. Fiend Yang deflated momentarily, but quickly composed himself. Fine, fine. Here's the deal. Don't go overboard against the beast-taming sect. Sending them flying is fine, but don't injure them. Why? One of the disciples protested. Just look at Hui Xiong. He's begging for a beating. Fiend Yang's expression hardened. That's called strategy. If we cripple them, Mystical Heaven Sect will have an easier time in their next match. Do you want to help those hypocrites? The group grinned nastily, understanding the plan. Fiend Yang turned to Zhuo Fan. And you, no crippling their strongest. I know you'll win, but don't make it easy for Mystical Heaven Sect. Zhuo Fan shrugged, unconcerned. Relax, I know what I'm doing. Besides, against him, even holding back will be more than enough. With a ripple as the only sign, 4 walls suddenly rose around the stage, enclosing everything within. The barrier is set. Take your places, the judge called out, signaling for both the demon-scheming sect and the beast-taming sect to begin. Standing tall in the middle was Qi Changlong, his demeanor cold and commanding. With his highest cultivation level unleashed, the full power of a third-layer ethereal stage radiated from him. The oppressive force made its way across the stage, pressing heavily on everyone present. Outside the barrier, the audience finally found relief as his aura was contained. Even so, the lingering shock left them reeling from the suffocating power they had just experienced. On the other hand, beast-taming sect's disciples were utterly terrified. The bearer of the number 1 token trembled the most. His hands shook uncontrollably, his face pale as he glanced at Qi Changlong's cold sneer. Tears brimmed in his eyes, his fear nearly paralyzing him. I'm going to get myself killed! The thought tore through him as he turned desperately to Elder Lu, his voice cracking with panic. Elder, my loss is certain. Can I just forfeit? Elder Lu snorted, his tone harsh. Do you even know the rules of the Double Dragon Gathering? The disciple looked at him blankly, unsure whether to nod or cry. Elder Lu continued, his words sharp as knives. A win gets you 2 points. A draw earns 1 and a loss is 0. Forfeiting. That's -2. You refusing to fight would drag us all down. The disciple's expression darkened, despair settling in. Double Dragon Gathering won't even let us forfeit? They just want us to die, Elder Lu sneered. How would you know what they want? This isn't about what's fair or easy. They want to test your dedication. The system was made to see if you're willing to give your life for the sect. If we score negative points, it's not just about losing strength, it's about losing face. The sect would be shamed and reduced to the bottom rung. So, for the sake of the sect, you will fight, even if you face someone at the peak of the elder stage. The disciple's shoulders sagged, hopelessness swallowing him whole. That's easy for you to say. You're not the one going up there, he muttered under his breath. Dragging his feet, he walked towards the stage. He couldn't back down. The punishment for refusal would be worse than dying in battle. At least this way his end would be quick. From the sidelines, Hui Xiong smirked, his expression dripping with mockery. Didn't you always try to take my place as the best in our sect? This is your chance to prove yourself. Unlike my fight where I had to deal with some weakling, you get the real honor, ha ha ha! The disciple shot him a venomous glare, his hatred barely concealed. This bastard, he thought. He'll mock anyone who's suffering. Turning his gaze to Zhuo Fan on the opposing side, his envy flared. A third-layer radiant stage? What kind of luck is that? This weakling's match was a walk in the park. He Xiong must have saved the world in his past life to get that kind of opponent. With bitter resentment filling him, he stepped into the ring. The cold sneer on Qi Changlong's face sent a shiver down his spine. Reality came crashing down. This is it. My poor little life is over. His trembling figure was pitiful to watch. Meanwhile, Qi Changlong stood there with an amused grin, savoring the moment. The judge's voice echoed through the barrier. Begin! As soon as the words left the judge's lips, the disciple fell to his knees, clasping his hands in prayer. His forehead hit the ground repeatedly as he begged for mercy. Qi Changlong burst into laughter, and soon, the entire demon scheming sect joined him. The sight was beyond humiliating. Even Elder Lu's face twitched in disgust, while the beast-taming sect team collectively lowered their heads in shame. Qi Changlong's laughter eventually subsided, replaced with a disdainful grin. You've got good eyes to recognize greatness. In light of your exceptional decision, I'll let you go. Now scram! With a casual flick of his wrist, he sent a gust of wind that blew the disciple clean out of the ring. The man lay there on the ground, dazed, but soon began patting himself down, realizing he was unscathed. Slowly, his shock turned into sheer joy. He was alive! First fight goes to the demon scheming sect, the judge declared. His tone carried a hint of boredom, reflecting how one-sided the match had been. The disciple, however, ignored everything else. He stood up and bowed repeatedly towards Qi Changlong, his gratitude spilling out. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The audience could only stare, equal parts horrified and amused. The rest of the beast-taming sect disciples, however, perked up. Their eyes gleamed with realization. So that's how we survive this! When the judge called for the next fight, yelling rose from the demon scheming sect. Her opponent, another trembling disciple from the beast-taming sect, dragged himself to the stage. He Xiong roared at him from the sidelines. Don't you dare pull the same pathetic stunt! Raise your head and fight like a man. Die with dignity! Turning to the first disciple, he sneered, And you? You're a disgrace to the sect, a failure! The other disciples glared at He Xiong, their hatred for him evident. Big words for someone who fought a weakling. If you're so brave, why don't you fight them? But He Xiong remained oblivious, his smug expression never faltering. Back on the stage, Yue Ling's opponent didn't waste time. He fell to his knees, his pleas echoing through the barrier. His groveling was even more exaggerated than the first disciples. Yue Ling chuckled coldly. Good. I like a man who knows his place. Now get lost. With a flick of her wrist, she sent him flying out of the ring, ensuring he landed unharmed. The beast-taming sect disciples cheered, their spirits soaring. We've cracked the code! Begging works! Outside the ring, the scene devolved into absurdity. One after another, the beast-taming sect disciples stepped forward, each more eager to grovel than the last. The demon-scheming sect indulged them, their laughter ringing out as they mercifully spared their lives. From the sidelines, Elder Lu's fury reached its peak. His disciples had abandoned all dignity, bringing shame to the sect's name. Meanwhile, Elder Yun, observing the demon-scheming sect closely, frowned. A realization dawned on him. This is their plan all along,